Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's vlog where we will be exploring 50 exceptional English words and their meanings. From words that are rarely used in everyday conversation to those that have a unique and interesting history, we have gathered a diverse selection for you to discover. So, without further ado, let's dive into the world of obscure and fascinating vocabulary. Serendipity, the occurrence and development of events by chance in a happy or beneficial way. For example, I found my lucky pen through serendipity. Languid, lacking energy or enthusiasm, or sluggish. For example, she spoke in a languid and lethargic tone. Plethora, an abundance of something, or a surplus. For example, the store had a plethora of different types of cookies. Ephemeral, lasting for a very short time, or fleeting. For example, the cherry blossoms were beautiful but ephemeral. Disenfranchised, deprived of the right to vote or other rights of citizenship. For example, many of the city's poor are disenfranchised from the political process. Ennui, a feeling of boredom and dissatisfaction. For example, he was overcome by ennui and decided to take a trip. Kaleidoscope, an optical instrument with mirrors or pieces of colored glass that reflect light in a changing pattern. For example, the room was filled with light like being inside a kaleidoscope. Mellifluous, pleasing to the ear, smooth and sweet sounding. For example, she had a mellifluous voice that could soothe anyone. Perspicacious, having a ready insight into and understanding of things. For example, his perspicacious analysis of the situation helped the team to make a wise decision. Nimble, able to move quickly and easily. For example, she was nimble on her feet and danced gracefully. Nonchalant, seeming not to care about or be interested in something, or casual. For example, he was nonchalant about the whole situation, which made it hard to tell if he was being serious or not. Opulent, rich and luxurious. For example, the opulent ballroom was decorated with gold and crystal chandeliers. Propinquity, proximity or nearness in space or time. For example, the propinquity of the two cities made it easy for them to trade goods. Quixotic, idealistic but unrealistic. For example, his quixotic plan to save the world was admirable but impractical. Recondite, little known or abstruse. For example, the subject matter was recondite but she was determined to understand it. Sagacious, having or showing good judgment and wisdom. For example, his sagacious advice helped the company to avoid a major crisis. Trenchant, having or showing a keen intellect or incisive power of reasoning. For example, the article was trenchant in its criticism of the government's policies. Ubiquitous, existing or being everywhere, especially at the same time. For example, smartphones have become ubiquitous in today's society. Verdant, green with vegetation. For example, the countryside was verdant and lush in the springtime. Whimsical, playful, quaint or fanciful, impulsive or unpredictable. Example, the sculpture was whimsical with a touch of humor. Xenophobic, having or showing a fear or hatred of strangers or foreigners. For example, his xenophobic comments were not welcome in a diverse community. Yielding, ready to give way to others, or accommodating or flexible. For example, the metal was yielding to the force applied and taking shape. Zephyr, a gentle breeze. For example, I feel very comfortable in the zephyr from the sea. Abstruse, difficult to understand or arcane. For example, the concept was too abstruse for most students to grasp. Beguile, charm or deceive someone. For example, he was beguiled by her charm and didn't realize it was all ruse. Conundrum, a difficult problem with no obvious solution. For example, the budget deficit was a conundrum that the government couldn't solve. Disparate, fundamentally different or distinct, not comparable. For example, the two theories were disparate and incompatible with each other. Flummox, confuse or perplex. For example, the instructions were so convoluted that they flummoxed even the most experienced technicians. Gregarious, outgoing and sociable. For example, he was known for being gregarious and making friends easily. Hyperbolic, exaggerated in speech or writing. For example, his statements were often hyperbolic, making it hard to take him seriously. Inscrutable, difficult to understand or interpret. For example, the Mona Lisa's smile is inscrutable, leading to many theories about her expression. Jubilant, feeling or showing great happiness and triumph. For example, the crowd was jubilant as the team won the championship. Klutz, an awkward or clumsy person. For example, I'm such a klutz. I keep dropping things. Luminous, giving off light or shining. For example, the stars were luminous in the clear night sky. Mellifluous, pleasing to the ear, smooth and sweet sounding. For example, his mellifluous voice made listening to his speeches a pleasure. Nihilistic, believing in the absence of moral principles or believing that life has no purpose. For example, his nihilistic views led him to question the value of all human endeavor. Obfuscate, make something obscure or unclear. For example, the politician's statement was designed to obfuscate the truth. Pithy, concise and meaningful. For example, his pithy comment summed up the entire debate. Recalcitrant, difficult to manage or control. For example, the recalcitrant horse refused to be ridden. Tenebrous, dark and gloomy. For example, the tenebrous forest was filled with twisted trees and shadows. Yearning, a strong feeling of desire or longing. For example, she had a yearning to see the world and travel. Zealot, a person who is fanatically devoted to a cause or idea. For example, he was a zealot for environmental conservation. Adjudicate, to make a formal judgment about a matter in dispute. For example, the judge was asked to adjudicate the dispute between the two parties. And there you have it, 50 exceptional English words and their meanings. We hope you've enjoyed learning about these unique and interesting words and that you'll be able to use them in your own writing and conversation. Remember, expanding your vocabulary is not only fun but also beneficial for communication and personal growth. Don't forget to tune in next time for more interesting vlogs like this one. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next one. Until then, bye and stay safe.